out-of-the-box hooks, videos so good they should be illegal, and the 4P framework that will make your content binge-worthy. That's what's coming up on today's episode of Ryan Reacts. If you're new here, I'm Ryan, agency owner, editor, and content creator, which means I deal with content every single day. And in order to remain inspired, I started this show. It's where I break down the content that's inspiring me so that you can steal my work and level up your own content in the process. Now, quick deal before we start. If you at all catch yourself thinking, I'm enjoying myself, or found yourself thinking, I just learned something new, then hit subscribe, will you? My goal is to turn this channel into the biggest free resource for creating epic content. Now, without further ado, let's get into the first video of today. And it's from one of my all-time favorite creators, Adrian Per. Let's go.
Do you want to make better content this year? Well, I can fix that for you. I've spent the past 3 years making content that helps creators create better. And the crazy part, I haven't even shown you my best work yet. 3 years ago, I introduced myself on this platform, told you who I was and what I wanted to bring to your feed. Since then, I've shown you everything I know about building a real creative career. From storytelling principles, to camera work, to editing, to consistency. And to my surprise, so many of you followed this journey. But there are also so many new faces on here. So let's try this again.
Allow me to reintroduce myself.
My name is Adrian. This year is different. And this year I'm raising the bar. Not just with better visuals or cleaner edits, but with deeper stories, more meaningful lessons, and content that actually pushes you to level up. I'm not here to show you shortcuts. I'm here to show you how to craft stories that feel alive. Help you share stories only you can tell. So if you want to make this year your year as a creator, you're in the right place. Because everything up until now was just the warm-up. Let's make it the best yet. See you soon.
Fucking sick. Oh, I love this guy, man. What I'll say about this guy compared to some other creators, which are massive in their own respects, but what Adrian does fantastic is I feel like he finds the perfect balance between adding in edits that spice it up versus over editing. So I feel like right now, especially cinematic content is in the era of beastification, meaning that we have found a way to make cinematic content so hyper edited in a way that it keeps your attention, but at times wonder whether it's essential to the edit. And I feel like Adrian doesn't do that. He just finds the perfect balance, all the while it's still being extremely edited.
Do you want to make better content this year? Well, I can fix that for you.
This is sick. So how has he created this like seamless transition between these two? My gut says he's used Higgsfield. Now, Higgsfield is currently one of my favorite platforms, I suppose, to use, especially for AI transitions. Obviously, he started with a wide shot to establish the context in which he's currently finding himself. And he's done many videos on this himself. He says that go start with a wide shot so people understand where you're at, and then cut to a medium or close-up even in order to give more context. Now, he's done that himself here within the first second. In order to make this transition, you're gonna have to go to Higgsfield. You're going to need the last frame from, in this case, this shot and the first frame of this shot that you're filming. And then you're gonna upload them into Higgsfield. There's two ways you can use some of the presets that Higgsfield have created. I've played around with them actually this week and I found they're good, but they're not always great. It depends on what you wanna go. Sometimes you can do a manual mode in which you put the prompt in yourself. In that case, go into ChatGPT, type in the kind of feel that you're looking for. So in this case, tell ChatGPT to give you a prompt for a seamless transition and then upload that prompt into Higgsfield in order to help it make the transition in a good way.
Well, I can fix that for you. I've spent the past 3 years making content that helps creators.
So this was so fucking slick, bro. So fucking slick. So they go so much into selling this that isn't noticed. It could be that this is just an image and he's kind of cropped himself out. But the details that go into this that you have to notice. As he zooms out, he has this overlay that comes on. It's like a glass overlay, and you create this effect by the lighting that you put on this. I could imagine you can even find a glass layer in Canva, which you could download on a black background, download the glass layer and then put the blend mode to screen and then layer that on top. And it's already gonna create this like glass textured effect. And then zoom out both the original shot, the glass shot, and obviously the layer of the building. And as you zoom this out, you're going to create this effect. Now, if you want to do this well, you need to make sure that when you're downloading your images, whether that's the glass layer or the building layer, that you render them. And if you're rendering in 1080, make sure to render in 4K or even in 8K in order to keep the resolution as you zoom out. That's how I would do it, at least. Then this fucking sick transition. By the looks of it, how he's done it, it looks like this picture, or well, this building here is just an image, and he's kind of keyframed it to kind of blur the transition, and then had the sky come in along with the clouds to really sell the movement here. The final detail here is as he moves into this transition, you'll notice that the text also slightly move up this way. You see how it goes from here and it still moves up a little? This is crucial to selling this effect, because I can assure you, feel free to try it yourself, add in a similar movement and then just place the text there. You'll notice that it feels choppy, versus when you add in the movement, because your eye is kind of following where the camera is going, you'll notice that the transition feels smoother. So remember that if you're making transitions like this, add in a slight movement on your text as well to match the movement of the camera. So do it! Continue with the video.
Crazy part? I haven't even shown you my best work yet. 3 years ago.
Fucking genius. The original phone, in his case, the one that he's holding in his hand, make sure that when you film the shot, you have it on a green screen. That way you can use Ultra Key, map out the green screen, and then layer the video underneath as we make this transition. Then, of course, to really sell it, we need the textures on top, and you'll need to make sure to track the video as the movement of the phone happens, or else you're gonna notice the choppiness of it.
3 years ago, I introduced myself on this platform, told you who I was, and what I wanted to bring to your feed. Since then, I've shown...
This is fucking sick. First of all, you're gonna need a sick shot of you, in this case, standing at a desk, I guess a standing desk working. In order to do this well, you'll need to film yourself on a plain background. I'd imagine this is a very bright background. It could just be even white here, and the floor is white as well. And then on a top-down angle. It could also be that he's rotoscoped himself out. Desaturate that shot to get the black and white look. Now you're gonna add in screens around yourself where you're standing. These are screen recordings of what you're doing. In order to get this curved effect, you'll need to do something called roughen edges. That's gonna allow you to give curved effect to your boxes. Then you're gonna use a combination of basic 3D and careful keyframing to rotate them around you. I know there's a way to do this in After Effects in a much easier way, because you can track the camera. You can, however, do it in Premiere if you hate After Effects like I do. But the keyframing is harder, I'll give you that. Put the opacity on the videos slightly down, I think to probably like 85%, maybe 90, as you'll see that his shoes slightly shine through, and this is what sells the effect as if it's a screen.
A real creative career, from storytelling principles to camera work to editing to consistency, and to my surprise, so many of you follow this journey, but there are also so many new faces on here. So let's try this again.
Allow me to reintroduce myself.
My name is Faber.
The power of using music, right? Using music to your favor. By doing this, obviously well-timed in what is actually being said. It's a recognizable song, but it also changes pace. Now, up until here, it's been the same beat the whole time. And if you continue that, because that's what some people do, you might have gotten bored, and we're 30 seconds into a minute video. So by cleverly switching up the beat, he's now brought the pace back into the video, and you feel like you're in a, let's say, a part 2 of an otherwise 1 minute video.
Let's try this again.
Allow me to reintroduce myself.
My name is Adrian. This year is different. And this year I'm raising the bar. Not just with better visuals or cleaner edits, but with deeper stories, more meaningful lessons, and content that actually pushes you to level up. I'm not here to show you shortcuts. I'm here to show you how to craft stories that feel alive.
Obviously, how to do this is relatively simple. It's the same shot, well, it's more or less the same shot as we had before at the screens. And now, in order to hide the text, you rotoscope yourself out and you need to turn yourself into a layer. Now, if you don't know what rotoscoping is, basically whereby you select a subject and you take it out of the equation and then put it on a green screen to ultimately make it a top layer.
That feel a lot. Help you share stories.
This is also fantastic. You can get these speech bubbles in Canva, add in the texts, have it appear through means of like a fade in and a Gaussian blur, and also a slight upward movement to resemble a text message, and then add a slight glow behind it. There is a preset in Premiere called Glow that you can give around it. This is what's going to give it this like slight neon. And of course, you'll need to use the basic 3D effect on tilt in order to place it in line with your keyboard. Try and match it up with the lines of your keyboard in order for it to feel well done.
Woo! Stories only you can tell. So if you want to make this year your year as a creator, you're in the right place. Because everything up until now...
Wow, so this... it's fucking crazy. And I know you can design these things in After Effects. In essence, you design layers and then you create the camera motion so that it goes from flat to straight, and you've just layered all of these like screenshots of your feed underneath each other. Or in this case, I think, well, it's definitely screenshots. And then make sure to add a lot of Gaussian blur to hide it. Now, you can also, again, in Canva, create a really long image in which you, in essence, do the same idea. And then you keyframe it using basic 3D and just the position keyframe, scale, and add in the shutter angle to around 100 to 180 in order to create that blur. And then you can do it in the same way.
Because everything up until now was just the warm-up. Let's make it the best yet.
Sick, bro. You are an inspiration to a generation. Crazy! This one was crazy as well, and it's about one of my favorite shows, Stranger Things, although Duffer Brothers, you completely fucked that last episode. But anyway.
Everyone knows Steve Harrington, the cool babysitter of Hawkins, but very few people know how hard he fought just to stay on the path to his dream. Originally, he auditioned for Jonathan, the brooding photographer, but something about him caught the creator's attention, and they shifted him into a character that wasn't even meant to last. He got cast as Steve, a character written to be a jerk in season 1, a one-season throwaway.
It wasn't even like really a core character, to be honest, to the whole thing.
But Joe didn't play him like a villain. He played him like someone pretending to be confident while falling apart inside, and the audience felt it. Steve Harrington went from that guy to everyone's favorite character in a single season. But acting wasn't his only dream. Before Stranger Things, he spent years grinding in small indie bands. Even after Stranger Things blew up, music didn't come easy. So he reinvented himself as DJO, and people were still confused. Until suddenly, his song, End of Beginning, exploded.
It was out, End of Beginning was your song. It hit #1 on the global Spotify chart. #1, man.
Joe Keery wasn't the actor trying music. He was a musician who happened to become an actor. From a near-rejected audition to a breakout role to a global music moment years in the making, his story proves something. Sometimes the character you play is nothing compared to the person you become.
So fucking good. What I love most about this video was the hook and the storytelling of it. You should check out these guys' channel. I'll link them below. They are making fantastic shit. They had another one about Michael Jackson that was actually the video that caught my attention the most. This one has, I think, 4 million views, which is fucking nuts. And I think one of the key reasons, other than it being very well timed and extremely noticeable, was also the way they edited this hook.
Everyone knows Steve Harrington, the cool babysitter of Hawkins, but very few people know.
5 seconds in and so much has happened, so much shit to break down for you. So one of the key things is the tracking on this bottle, right? So how to potentially do this effect, duplicate the layer. In this case, you would obviously crop to match the fall of the camera. And then you put the invert preset onto that channel in order to get this like inverted color effect. And what that basically does is just it takes all colors and gives you the counter opposite side. That's why everything that's black is white. It's why things that are slightly orange are actually blue. And then you just do that multiple times in the space of like not even a second. Although this one is done in red. Obviously you can also change the color. In this case, you probably can do this by creating a red color matte, mapping out the box like it is here, and then putting the color matte to multiply.
Steve Harrington, the cool bit.
And then using the effect one more time on the eyes just to capture the attention, to redraw the attention to here. To get these arrows, I use Canva all the time for this. There's probably scribble packs that you could look for as well, to be fair. But I just go to Canva, I select hand-drawn arrows, and then I, for example, use the crop animation to make it appear. Sometimes Canva has ones already made themselves that you can like have hand-drawn ones, and then you either put it to black or white, and then you slap a green screen behind it, drag it into Premiere Pro, Ultra key, get rid of the green screen. Bob's your uncle.
Very few people know how hard he fought just to stay on the path to his dream. Originally,
the yellow circle does so much to this, and then adding in the movement here. They're simple details, but the simple details is what sells your video.
Jonathan, the brooding photographer, but something about him caught the creator's attention, and they shifted him into a character that wasn't even meant to last. He got cast as
this here, this like paint effect, is relatively easy to be found just by searching for the ink bleed in Canva again, and then you should be able to replicate this.
Single season, but acting wasn't his only dream. Before
using the like headline titles here to continue on this like paper Polaroid texturized effect brings the video as a cohesive together. Sometimes what I see is people, they try and take loads of inspiration from a bunch of different videos, and as a result the video has no cohesion. So there's a bunch of really sick effects brought together, but it doesn't feel one. And when you're able to understand, you need to have a story within the video. Also as an editor, a tone of voice, an approach. That is how you're able to create content that stands out but feels cohesive.
before Stranger Things, he spent years grinding in small indie bands, even after Stranger Things blew up.
Even here, still having this like texturized, gritty, paper-esque overlay on top is a detail that will often be missed. They'll probably just slap on this video and think that that would be enough, but this is what brings all of this stuff together. Another trick for this is if you're working with stock footage, for example, by just adding a scan lines effect on top, a slight shadow, and maybe a vignette. This is already going to be able to take it from looking like just a boring stock video to making it feel like it's cohesive, or at least part of a video. Like sometimes little details like this is what makes all the difference to a video.
Music didn't come easy, so he reinvented himself as...
I could spend another hour just breaking down how this guy's built up a story, you know, introduce the character, introduce his pain, show his payoff, kind of in a very short amount of time. They've positioned the music industry as the Goliath and helped explain how David beat the Goliath, all right? Being able to stand out in music or succeed in music is almost near impossible. So explaining how this guy took a pivot, got really successful there, and then used that success to still get his dream, if you like. That brings us to Hooks of the Week. Hook 1. Boom! Just a collection of fantastic shots with nothing but just sound effects. The idea behind this segment of the show is to give you inspiration as to what hooks are getting the attention, and this caught my attention. So consider using it.
People keep calling my content AI.
The use of comments or text from other people in order to draw attention. You don't have to have these comments, you could just make them up and use them as part of your story. I don't think anybody watches these videos and then goes checks, oh, who left those comments? In this case, I think they were real, but still, it's a fantastic way to hook people. Hook 3, and the final one of today.
So I've always been inspired by Japanese art and culture.
What I loved about this was actually the fact that the camera is already moving. So rather than having a static, still standing shot, although could be useful, maybe already having the camera move as the hook starts is a good way to capture attention right away, because your brain wants to understand what the hell is going on. And if you manage to use creative storytelling as a means to drag people through those first 5 seconds, then you have them hooked. All right, that was Hooks of the Week. We're gonna continue with the last video of today. And then I'm gonna give you my strategic advice to create bingeable content, and then we're rounding up. Bear with me, because this one's worth watching.
Do you know what anxiety feels like? It's like sitting here, but I don't have the keys. It means that I have deadlines, obligations. I got promises I could only keep if I had 48 copies of myself working around the clock, or at least that's what I thought. Until I found my superpower. 5 magical words. All I gotta do is say them together to create a version of reality where everything goes according to my plan. They say life comes in waves, but leave out one detail. Those waves never come one by one. Trying to catch everything, earn money, show up on time, reply fast, meet deadlines, keep work, don't fall behind. But remember, surviving the waves takes 5 words. You have to believe them, or the magic doesn't work. What if everything works out?
I've watched so much of this guy's stuff already and it's just fucking fantastic. Like, dude, if you're watching this, if you happen to be watching this, I would love to set up a call with you and we'll film it like some sort of podcast, I don't care. I would love to just interview the shit out of you to understand how you did this. I'm gonna do my best to make my assumptions how I think he did this. So here we go.
Do you know what
just that hook already, the flash here, and then getting down to it. We're not even 1 second in yet, and you know, he's used a pattern interrupt to capture your attention. The fact that it's black and white is unique, right? Helps him stand out. The headlights in this case, the way we are programmed, you want to know if he's gonna get hit by the car. Like, your brain is already in panic about the fact that he's gonna get hit by the car. And so using that as a hook is just phenomenal.
like sitting?
For this particular shot, he shot it from his car window and zoomed in and cleverly added in the light here to enhance the feeling as if the car's about to hit you. So good. Now this shot, I could get a hunch shot, right? So you have to first of all have a shot in which you film yourself at a distance. Then you're gonna film yourself like this. So I'd imagine if you just, you know, kind of like this. And get a bunch of different shots like that, you're welcome. They're just the same shot but duplicated, and place them individually. You can already get this effect, and then just make sure that the mask around here has a strong feather on it so that it blends into the blackness of it, and then just place them so many times. This shot is one of the very few within the selection that I think you could actually recreate yourself relatively easily.
Obligations. I got promises I could only keep if I...
In terms of how the hands, you know, you film your hands coming in from the screen a bunch of different ways. Let me show you. So you would have one that goes like this, one that goes like this, and one that goes like this. You get the point, and then you use the rotoscope tool and you select the hand when it's pointing towards whatever you have in the middle. And then you add them all onto the top layer with, in this case, the calendar on it, and you make them appear. In terms of how he's done the calendar, my guess is just a bunch of text boxes that appear, or in this case, sometimes circles or arrows, and just place them on there. In terms of the font, like, it does look handwritten, so it could also be that he took different pictures of the calendar, and each time he took a picture, you know, and added something new, and then took another picture and added something new. And that is just the like background slate, and then he's just added some hand movement in order to sell it. In order to sell this transition, you need to make sure that have something that fully blocks the camera. And then as you're bringing in the new frame, you basically have a mask here following the position, and as the person walks through the frame, you make the mask follow the person, well, in order for the new shot to appear accordingly.
Working around the clock, or at least that's what I thought. Until I found my
pace change.
Superpower. 5 magical words. All I gotta do is say them together to create a word.
I don't even know. Could imagine within his eye, he's now had a circle and just made sure to like crop it at the eyelid or use opacity, and then keep his eye open for long enough, and then it just morphs it to a triangle and then to a square. I think that's how you would do this.
Those waves never come one by one. Trying to catch everything, earn money, show up on time, reply fast, meet deadlines, keep work, don't fall behind. But remember, surviving the wave.
The music builds stress, right? So we've got to keep in mind all the time this video is going on, we're still somewhat in our mind have the unanswered question of, is he gonna get hit by the car? And the music constantly repeating makes you feel on a loop, and it's giving more stress. And then the underlying sound effects that come here, like high-pitched violin is also a key point for stress.
You have to believe them, or the magic doesn't work. What if everything works out?
And then in the end, it's still not answered. Oh, so good, dude. Oh, seriously, if you happen to be watching this and you want to do some sort of podcast, please do DM me. I would love to jump on and just try and get a small peek inside your brain. Fucking sick. And with that, we've arrived at the final part of today, and that is Strategic Showdown. So in this segment of the show, I try to explain what I, as a content strategist, sometimes give as advice to people in order to improve their videos, and I'm giving it to you for free for watching all the way to the end of this video. So the 4P framework is as follows. It stands for pain, promise, plan, payoff. It is a framework that you can use to script or build your videos, and ultimately to give them the feeling as if what they're watching has been worth it. This is a structure that you can use for both the hook as well as the full body of your video. What does it mean? The pain. Establish what pain you're about to solve for them. An example that a lot of people could relate to is, with Christmas having just passed, you will have gained a couple of kilos. So a pain would be, have you gained a couple of kilos over Christmas? Promise would be, in this video, I'm going to show you how to get rid of those by tracking your calories. I'm doing this on the fly here, bear with me, you get the point. The plan is explaining what the steps are that are going to happen as you explain them. So if we stick to our weight gain example, the plan might be, I'm going to explain the 3 tricks that I use in order to lose weight effectively. With this established, what you're going to do within the video to basically satisfy the promise you've made. And then of course, the most important, the payoff. This is something as stupid as it sounds that most people don't get right. And you'll know it from a lot of podcast episodes in which people will warm you up all of the time. They'll tell you exactly what you think you want to hear, and then they'll get to the end of the video and then they'll say something annoying like, watch the full video to find out more. There is nothing more infuriating. With doing that, I will never watch your podcast ever. Don't fucking do that. That being said, in order to give the payoff, you obviously have to come through and show your expertise. And this is, again, for the weight gain, actually tell them a more effective way to lose the kilos that we've just referenced, right? This is where, in my opinion, most people lose their views, or at least lose the people to come back. So you might have made a fantastic hook, you might have got everybody interested, you've used phenomenal visual hooks, but because you didn't give them a payoff, people now assume that when they watch your content, they're never getting a payoff, and so as a result, they won't watch future content, which will actually be worse for them. So, key point to take away from today, make sure you give them a payoff. Make it worth their while. And with that being said, that ramble, I want to thank you for watching another episode of Ryan Reacts. If you feel like you learned something, please stick to our deal and hit the subscribe button. It means more to me than you know, and hopefully I'll be able to build this into a fantastic database of insane creators, and Lord knows what else is to come this year. So with that being said, I want to thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Adios.